Alright, so how to fix your light stick. I have gone ahead and taken apart mine already, and we're just going to slowly put it back together. So this is the tube that goes on the light stick, and the cap comes off. This is true, I think, even of all the SM light sticks. But the more you pull them apart, the looser the tube itself gets, so your cap can come off. With these unofficial ones, especially these ones, which originally came from SHINee World Canada, are really loose because they're not official. But even still, they do come off in case you want to like trade out the paper inside. You can personalize it. So that's the tube. And from there, you know, you have to know a little bit about circuitry in order to understand how this stuff works. This is the bulb, and the bulb lights up green, and over time, as the battery wears out, well, it lights up aqua when it's fresh, and then as it gets older, it turns green. I think, I'm not sure how fresh these batteries are, so, well, this one doesn't work. But this one does. This one's been used for a bit. It's going to be green. So that's that light stick. But for circuitry on this, you have, this might take me a second to pull apart. So this is the bulb, and this is just a casing to hold the bulb and to hold its wires in a certain position. So you have a short side and a long side to the bulb, and the short side is going to go on the plastic casing. See how it's short right here and it's long on the other side? There's a reason for that. So the short side we're going to line up here, and then the long side we're going to put over through here, and it should poke through the bottom like this, because what needs to happen is it needs to fold under. So we're going to fold it over the case, put it back where it was, and so these sides, if you know anything about circuitry, you know that you need to have a positive and a negative side in order to complete the circuit. So what's going to happen is you're going to have this tab, which has a metal strip running through it, and this plastic is there to protect it from the battery, so that way the battery doesn't interrupt this part of the circuit when we don't want it to. So this piece of metal is going to attach here, and then this extra metal right here, because this is where the batteries are going to be. Batteries are going to be lined up inside the tube like this. So this bottom battery is going to be touching this part of the circuit. But the top battery, we want to eventually connect to this. So the way that works is this is going to hang on the inside of the tube. So here's the tube. We're going to try to delicately put this in here, but it's probably not going to line up perfectly because it takes a little bit of time. What you want to happen is you want this metal strip to connect here, and then you want this metal flap to connect. There should be a gap in this screw part. For this one, it's right here. You probably can't tell from here, but it'll slide. This metal flap is supposed to be in that gap. Otherwise, whenever you try to screw on the cap, it's going to get caught in these edges, which we don't want. So it might take a little bit of finesse to get it back in there. But in general, you're going to shove it back inside the tube. I'm going to use needle nose pliers, which is how I got it out in the first place. I'm going to see if I can twist it a little bit. See if I can get that to line up. Already kind of fell down a bit, but that's okay. We'll try to fix that in just a sec. Let's try putting it back in this way. There we go. That's how I did it last time. And up. And you know, you might even want to glue this down because this is such a pain. I don't know how manufacturers do it, to be honest. I guess they have expert practice at it. But anyhow, that's supposed to be attached to that short end of the wire, and this is supposed to go over the edge. And the batteries, of course, go inside, like so. If I put them in now, I'm not going to be able to get them out. You have to bang it against the floor. I bang it against carpet so that way it doesn't damage the case too much. But anyhow, so once you get that lined up, which is going to take a bit, it should, you know, look like this with the bulb at the bottom. There's a casing that's on it, which it seems, when you see it, you'll wonder why this came off. What happens inside here is there's a little divot, and you can take this off. This is just for show, I think, so that way whoever's building this, I guess, can see inside this better, but they don't want you to see it, so they add an extra case. And it's an L kind of lock shape, so there's a divot here, or a groove here where this bump inside this tube goes in. So you line that up, and you twist it, and that locks into place. And it also covers up the bulb so it's not sticking out so bad, it's not so bright. So this will be, in theory, inside here. So if you can imagine that, this piece now needs to connect from that short end of the bulb to the cap. So we're going to talk about the cap next. So the first piece that this needs to connect with is this metal ring. So that's usually where most of the light sticks have trouble, is because whenever you screw on the cap, maybe it doesn't go down far enough, it's not tight enough, and these two don't meet. This here doesn't meet here. Sometimes it's because this is poorly made and it gets off center and it doesn't meet. Sometimes this little flap that goes over the edge breaks. But that's easily fixed with like a piece of small thin copper wire that you can put inside, or there's all sorts of ways. You just need some sort of metal that will connect the two. Some piece of conductive metal anyways. So the cap itself, the way it's built is, this is your major player, this is your major piece. These two together is what turns off and on your light stick. So you're going to take this thing, this is how mine is made. It's a twist that turns off and on, and you can't really see it, I think, because of the plastic is not very good. But there's a small cutout right here that your metal piece, come here. Your metal piece has a divot here that is supposed to slide into that cutout. And then the ring itself is supposed to fit inside of this casing. So we're going to fit that in. Ta-da. So now it won't wiggle around. It's just how it is. So this piece right here is what turns it off and on. This divot right here. And this metal piece right here is what directly connects to the top of this battery. So from here we're going to take this piece, and we're going to turn it upside down, and see how there's divots here? This is where this piece is going to connect in. So when you turn it off and on, you'll see that the metal piece comes out of this white casing, and that's what turns it off and on. And it's going to pop out on either side. So from here, this is useless because we don't have this gold metal piece in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on. Onto our cap. So there we go. Are you fitted? No, you're not. Why aren't you fitted? Oh, I think I have it upside down. Because it should fit flush as far as I'm aware. So there we go. I'm going to put this back in. Look for the grooves to fit the metal into. Because this is pushing it up, we're just going to kind of push it down a little bit in order to make it fit. Let's try to do it backwards. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put this in first. You're going to snap it this way and then put this down. I think this will work. And then snap it back. There we go. There you have it. So now, whenever you twist it, it will connect with your gold piece. And then when it's off, it won't be connected. This will be the off position. This will be the on position. Okay. And then we're just going to slide it back into our cap. And this cap is broken, which is why it goes in so easily. And you might even want to glue this gold, because the gold plate you can see is, I don't know if you can see, has already come up. I'm going to shove it down, if it'll let me. But like I said, you might even want to glue it into place. I don't see a need for it to be this loose. It might even be a problem. I don't know. So we're just going to shove it down in there. So anyhow, that's how the cap is made. And then you just screw it on. And this metal piece will connect, where'd you go? Will connect your wire here to the top of the case. Inside the tube, of course. But I can't get it to line up right now. And then your batteries go inside. And hopefully that made sense. But basically you need to have a full circuit that goes from your short end all the way up through the top of the cap and then down to the top of the battery, which is through this piece right here. And then it goes through the battery all the way down to this bent little bulb wire that's at the bottom of this tube. And that's how it's made. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I've never seen a push cap one where you push down. I've only seen these twist ones. This is how all the SM ones are made and how all of the unofficial ones that I've seen are made. But hopefully it gives an insight to how they're built in general. So yeah, hit me up if you have any more questions or are having trouble. Like I said, most of the time these things don't work because of this connection between this piece right here and this gold inside here. Some of that I think can be fixed by simply gluing it in with either super glue or probably would not use hot glue because it'll probably melt the metal. But if this doesn't reach, you can always add a very thin, emphasis on thin, piece of copper or some other conductive metal that can just help connect the two. You might even be able to find some piece of metal that you can attach to this and just make it taller. And because of that, you don't really necessarily need the cap to go all the way down. If it connects quicker with it, only partially done, so long as it works, that's really all that matters. So that's how I usually fix them. It's pretty rare for the bulb to burn out, but it's very common for this piece right here not to be meeting this gold piece. And a way you can test that is by removing some of these parts, by getting like a small strip of metal that you can take from here and just quickly connect it to the top of this, so that way you can just leave the cap out of it entirely. Because if you can get it to light up without the cap, then that means that your whole base is fine. But if it's not lighting up with the cap, then that means your problem is inside the cap, which is easily taken apart. And if you break your cap, I would highly recommend, like this part breaks really easily, especially on this particular model, I say model, this particular unofficial light stick. This cap breaks really easily if you screw it on too tight. One way that I have fixed it is to use packing tape, a clear packing tape, because it barely shows up, and it holds really, really tight, like you have to work to get it off. So that's what I would recommend if your cap is broken. I think that covers everything. So yeah, if you have any questions, just you can message me at SHINee USA. That's probably the easiest place to get in touch with me, as opposed to messaging me personally. So yeah, I hope this helps. Good luck!